frames. I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's very pretty, but each to their own. And it did have a glass and some wood. So I want to add an image and paint this up because, yeah, no. I don't really like it. Not a fan. That's okay. Okay, I'm just going to get it wiped down first. This was one of those auction extras, and you're like, I think I can do something to it. I'm not positive how it will sand, but I would like to sand it. It sanded off than I thought that it would. It's always funny because look at, they don't paint the sides. They put the plaster because it's like a plaster sheet overlay of some sort. So I wanted to get at least some of it sanded because I needed to scuff sand it because it was so super shiny. If I just put paint on there, it's going to come off. It's not going to stick the way I want it to stick anyway. Some people might have better luck than me, but I am going to prime this using some Extra Bond. Preferably just right here on this surface. It's so slippery, even with it being sanded. Nice thing about Extra Bond is you can help it dry using a heat source, which it's actually soaking in already. I think I'm going to go ahead and put 2 coats on just to be safe. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and do a second coat. Just that way I make sure I got everything covered. So this is my Etsy print I'm going to go with. I think I'm looking to match the paint on here. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to kind of match up. I think that would be like an ironstone, flour sack, because I did Extra Bond. I'm looking for some crackling chippiness. Well, not chippiness, just crackle. So I think ironstone and flour sack should be a good match. I have Sweet Pickins milk paint to get that crackling look. So I'm going to start off with flour sack. This is just a tablespoon, but I don't want it to be that white because the church isn't. I'm going to go ahead and do a scoop of the antique ironstone. And then I'm going to do half a scoop of curry, just a little bit of yellow, just a little. Let's see where that goes. I feel like I wanted to darken it up a little bit. Sometimes I like antique ironstone, but I feel like it has a pink hue to it. But yeah, so I think I don't want to completely match, but I wanted to make a nice cream to go with it, especially when we have those fall flowers in the background. I don't know about you. I probably don't change my wall decor just because it's fall. So it's something you want to, kind of make to leave up all year long. And I tend to make my paint a little bit on the thicker side. I don't know. I like it. I think it's a nice contrasting color. Oh, almost just a light, almost a butter. Everything's good with butter. So just gonna go ahead and get it on. Since I like to do a thick coat, I just kind of like gently, just kind of lightly touch, let it almost hit it just a little bit, and then move it around. I don't go in and, brush it off. It runs, that's okay. I'm going to go down the side, though, that you can see. I did put Extra Bond on it. Okay, we'll just let it dry, and I'm sure it's probably going to need the second coat, but we'll put these in a Ziploc and set it off to the side. Definitely not enough paint on there. It's crackling, though, but not enough paint, so we're going to go in with that second coat. My paint has thickened up, but if I fill the bead, I can add some water to it, but I think that'll be okay. Got some beautiful cracking, grazing going on. I'm going to seal this in, though, with Weather Defense clear coat. Okay, my top coat is dry. I'm going to sand it a little bit. See, I don't want to go crazy though. This one's black. I don't know. Some of the black came through. I've sealed this in with clear coat. My theory is that I can do the other one on top of it. And I'm going to take some of the dark wax too. Got the black and the dark. And rub both of those in there. Now I'm going to take some of the Fusion's clear coat, clear wax, and that'll just act like an eraser and kind of blend everything all in. We were just looking for an old frame, y'all. That's all. I'm not necessarily going to crackle, do any like fake canvas on this, but what I am going to do is seal this in with some weather defense. Toughen up that paper. Picture. Take my glass. Mark off where I want to cut it off. I don't need to mark the top because I know that I want to cut off the little white edges. Last time this side will be clean for a while, right? It's funny, it doesn't. It's a little large. It probably always was a little large. I don't know if I can snip it a little bit. Yep, I think it was always a little large. I was a little nervous there. Handy dandy framing tool. Cut off another piece of paper. I'm going to put it right up here. There should be enough to hang a little hammer in. It's not heavy. 9. I know it's not a it's not a picture, but I actually washed this campfire tin up. Somebody had wrote on it with pencil. It came off. It's one of those you're like, oh man, I should have filmed this before when I bought it, but I bought it in the antique mall. So I just came home and washed it and like took a magic eraser. But you can see somebody painted the top. It does not match. But as I'm painting on this frame, I'm like, oh, I think that color would be a better match than whatever this green hue. I know, getting rid of green hue color is. Yeah, I couldn't get that part off, but I do think I can paint this up. Is a better match. Sometimes I just have lots of projects sitting around in my workshop, and I'm like, oh, that would match. So I'm not going to do any bonder to it. I'm just going to go ahead and get it on here. Wouldn't be the first time that we've tried to save a campfire tin. You know, husbands in their workshops, whatever they had is what they used. And we'll play with it. We'll distress it. We'll make it, but it's definitely going to be the right hue of the color. Before it just still, it looked like it was green compared to that cream. Not that I want to paint that, but I do want to. I couldn't get that off. I'd rather have a little bit of paint splatter than that green paint. Because the more you scratched at it, the more the chances that you're going to take it off. Now, this might worry some people, but not I. No. It's okay because it actually chips all the way down to the original paint. Why? I don't know. That's just what it does. But that's awesome because, you know, the bottom has age. I'm going to take the sander and I'm going to sand it. Put it on a board. I'm going to leave. I know there's some chippy going on, but I'm not terribly worried yet. I'm going to seal whatever's left in with some weather defense and see if it sticks. And if it falls off, it falls off. It's all good. Very, very, very gentle. And those little places I touched up. And I'm just going to take a little bit of the dark oil wax. And I think, yes, it will. It'll blend that new paint. Right, I thought that it would. I thought I had something I can blend that in. We weren't making this to look new. We were just getting rid of that greenish paint. That's all. And then to make that match a little bit, I'll just use some more of that dark oil wax. When you buy a batch of frames, you work with what you have, and this is wood. You could leave it wood, most definitely. But I picked out this cute little bunny, this folk art bunny. So I want to paint this to go with the little folk art bunny. He just fits into my frame. And this one did have the glass. I'll set the glass off to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and seal my paper in. I'm just taping it down so it doesn't blow away on me. Go ahead and seal that ink in with some weather defense clear coat. Now this is raw wood. There's no top coat whatsoever on this. And take a moment, tape off the back so I can be messy. Yes, I am painting the wood. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a painting channel. Now, I can't say that there's a need to sand this because it's not shiny, but I do have some of the extra bond already pulled out in the cup to use as a primer, because if I just pour paint on here, it's just going to soak right into the wood. Now, normally, I probably would have gone for shellac, and I'm like, you know what? I know this is made to use with milk paint, but I didn't plan on using milk paint on this one, so we'll see how this works. Everything, you know, in crafting is kind of trial and error, and sometimes it's right. It's what's in your face. So I just did one coat of the extra bond just so my paint doesn't stick in, and now I'm going to go in with Sweet Pickins This is the beeswax. And I'm going to try to be careful. Now what the wax will do is just prevent the paint from sticking in areas. You can feel it, you can't see it. Some kind of a primer, it probably just, the beeswax would have soaked in. So now I'm going to go in with DIY's Apothecary. I know it's not like, we're not matching that image. We're just accentuating it with one of my favorite yummy colors. Actually, I don't use Apothecary as much as I probably should. So I'm actually going to put a kind of a heavy coat on in the hopes that sometimes it'll give it some character. Sometimes I've had DIY paint crackle before when I put it on heavy, but whether, whether I can force it to today or not, no, probably not. But I let this dry on its own. Now what looks wet should be where the wax is. That's my thinking. That's where it should be. Switch my paper over to 220 and sand it a little bit. See what happens. It sands really easy though. I think that's just the way I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and seal this in with a clear coat of Weather Defense. I think the frame is very pretty, though. I got my little, like, I have to do it. So I'm going to do a little bit of the dark oil wax. I don't think it'll do too awful much on it, but maybe bring out some more of the wood. It's been a while since this has been cleaned. And then I need to cut it down a little bit. That's good. And you can just put the cardboard back in there. Handy dandy framing tool. It's a tool you don't even know you need until the first time you use it. And then you're like, I so need that in my arsenal. I always like to back mine so they don't look new. And I'm like, I think this piper will work just fine. Double stick tape. I'm going to be using DIY's Apothecary on this piece. I am going to use a little bit of the Sweet Pickins beeswax. Just a little. I am a distressed girl. I like things to be chippy and old. And it's just the vibe I like. So I'm just going to put a little bit of wax. Whether it'll stay on there or not, I don't know. But we'll give it a good try. You need a big brush because do your difficult pieces first. Those areas that are hidden, that if you start in the front, you forget to go back and get. That makes it hard to show you where I'm painting. This is one of those pieces that there's not really a stopping point, that you got to do the whole thing. There's not a stopper. I was like, I'm just painting away going, oh, if I put butter pats on there, there's not anything to stop it. So I'm just going to paint a paint stick to attach to it. And I know the paint stick has a little bit of detail, but It's better than my butter pats that I kind of envision going all the way through. Sometimes you miss things when you're working on something, so you just go in and do it while you're braiding. I am going to attach this using very minute glue. I have not sealed it in yet because if I wax it or anything, you won't be able to do that. Junkies. Okay, now that I have the back on, I know it has the dip. It's all good, y'all. Gonna seal the paint in with some weather defense clear coat. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and give it a sanding. What comes off is what will come off. Such a fun look. The distressing. So I got it sanded as much as I want to sand it. I'm going to go in with some dark oil wax. I poured it out in a bowl because we didn't say this was going to be an easy thing to put on, but that'll pop that wood. Anything that didn't get, opened, it got opened up because I sanded it. That'll change that color. So oil wax is one of those you get it on, you let it sit on, it soaks in. Of course, it's probably made to do with milk paint, but it's all good. Told you I have a lot of these little frames that I took the whole box for $1 or $2, I think. So this one had glass also. It's just a wooden frame. I like that it's large. The large size is nice. So I printed out a swan animals, stills of churches, barns are like my best. I don't know why people don't buy floral, but the animals. So I printed out the size that I thought I needed, but I'm like, I don't know. It's right at that. It's right at it. Like, so do I do that? Or I printed out a bigger one and not worry about the swoosh to get more of the image. I think I'm just going to go with the image and not worry about all that detail. Because the more you play with it, sometimes when you're doing that, because it's like a 6x7 or something like that. So I'll set that off to the side. So I think I'm going to go ahead with this image. There again, I'm not going to color match because the wood, it's okay, but I think if we paint the wood, it would be better. I'm going to go ahead and seal this ink in with some weather defense. I know you think, oh, it's natural wood, don't sand it, but I can see shine. I see shine. So I feel like if I don't pre-sand this stuff, sand it, my paint might chip off more than I want it to. So I'm just going to take the sander. I have the supplies. I'm just going to take a moment to do it. I sanded as much as I could get to. And there again, since I have extra bond out, you can pour it. That's why I pour it in a cup. It's squeezable. But I'm going to go ahead and seal in this very raw wood now that I've exposed it. And try it with the heat gun. It's always the color pick. Like, I kind of like storm with it. Like, Do you pop it? Pop the image? This is also a limestone chalk paint. Or do we do the muted color? Or do you do the bright? Because this ends up getting darks. I think I'm going to go with Storm. Okay, I'm going to do a little beeswax. Sometimes I get going crazy on it. Don't go crazy. We're looking for age. Hasn't bought an artwork piece, and it had got water damage. That's what I'm trying to prevent. So we're just going to go ahead and see how the blue does. I didn't know. Sometimes this tends to be a little bit on the thicker side, but it doesn't look like it's doing it today. Okay, our paint is dry. I'm just going to go in with the sander and see what comes off. 220 sandpaper. Start pushing the sander in on that it will just, I'll get weird distressing. So put some gloves on, save my nails, and then just go in and sand it by hand. Then I'm going to take some of the dark wax. I'm just going to put that on top of it, and that should deepen it up a little bit. More glass cleaning. Yeah, there's like, I guess the dust has just been on there so long it needs scraped off. Honestly, I don't know how that even worked because it's recessed. I do not think anybody ever used that to hang this frame. There's no, you can't, y'all. I'm going to take my glass back out, set that off to the side. And do a little tracing. Since the glass is the same. And this cuts so much better straighter than I do. And then my image fits wonderfully. And then we're reusing the card. Handy dandy framing tool. We'll cut down a piece of this paper. Would be one of those hard ones to style, but I can imagine if you are a collector of plates, like you could put a saucer down there, you could put, a small bread plate here. Sometimes you just have to be inventive because yes, the spaces they're pretty large, but we're not going to worry about styling it till we get it painted up. So it's just some new age maple. Go ahead and sand it first because it's super shiny. And then this is just like a press board. I'm not worried about that. We're going to paint it. So I taped off some there. I had a Facebook just recently. Somebody's like, why didn't you paint the whole thing? Why didn't you paint the back? Well, how much do you think this item's going to sell for? You have to look at that. I'm sharing with you ideas on how to make things over that you might find out in the wild, secondhand. But you also, if you're flipping for yourself, go ahead, spend all that time. But when it comes to items you're flipping, at least keep it neat. The areas that you're not necessarily going to see, like the back, but still keep it neat. I still tried to finish them somehow, but when you're waiting for paint to dry, I try to find one of the sides that could sit so I can paint all the areas I can without having to worry about going, especially if you ever use milk paint. It's, yeah, you wait hours, sometimes the whole day for an item to dry. So yeah, you just have to pick your battles of how you want to finish your project and how cost efficient you want to make it. Okay, I'm going to use some spray shellac to prime this because it's hard to get without pooling up in here. So I think it'd just be easier, but I do need to prime it because it's really raw wood. I could only sand so much of that particle board. So I think I'm going to use a little bit of the Sweet Pickins beeswax. It doesn't take much, especially when you're going in blind, just to hopefully get some chippiness. Not some chippiness, we'll just make it look like a cottage piece. So I'm going to go and use Fusion's limestone and chalk paint in the color Storm. And then I get to do those areas where none of y'all can see what I get to do those areas where none of y'all can see what I'm doing. I do notice that you usually most of the time only need one coat of this paint. It's heavy. It's heavy in a good way heavy. You just want to be careful not to let it pool up on you. I always like to get my areas, the hard to get reach areas first. We're going to go in and sand it. I had to do 2 coats of paint on this one. Just some nice light distressing. I'm going to finish it up with some oil wax.